In our daily conversations, have you ever encountered people that are so-called the feeling breaker? They make your mood go down and even make you lose your positivity. This is the type of person that has at least one out of the two following characteristics. Some people maybe own two. So, what is the first characteristic? It is the type of person who loves to show off. No matter what on earth you're talking about, they still boast enthusiastically. Proof is that they talk endlessly about the topic that you started without sparing you any time to say. And that is the first trait. So what is the second trait? A lot of people not only like to show off, they also like to criticize. They will use all the reason that they assume are the outstanding knowledge to criticize in the conversation. And sometimes talking to those types of people makes you feel down. They are absolutely a feeling breaker. Imagine in a group of 5, and there's this one guy just like this. The others must feel very angry having to talk with him. So the question is, how to make these feeling breakers stop blustering, stop bragging? Especially, can we make them stop showing off but don't have any hatred toward us? Of course we can do it, and I will tell you how. And that is our topic today. We will call this the communication method that makes anyone laugh, because you will be the lifesaver in such interrupting conversations like that. The other will thank you and love you for cutting those feeling breakers. Are you ready to start? This is PeakYou channel, and welcome back to our topic today, navigating bluster and its solutions. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the PeakYou family. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the most attractive part of today, which is sharing tips on how to make people who attacks others' feeling, who enjoy downing your emotion, who deliberate take the spot, stop doing what their habit is in a conversation. The question seems difficult, but the answer is incredibly easy. Now, in a conversation, if you encounter clusters, try to fake yourself like a foolish and give them questions related to the topic that they're talking about. Just pretend you are unaware anything in the field that they are speaking of. Give them open questions, give them abstract questions, and ask them to explain. Believe me, it is incredibly effective. If the one who is talking to you is a bragger, a person who just likes to show off, the asking question will force them to face with the knowledge field that they are completely blind of. This is a forcing sentence. You must explain what you were talking about and prove your words. And that will trigger them feel scared. In most cases, neither of them want to lose their faces nor being judged as an exaggerator, a show-off person. They will need to tighten them up. They will be faltered. They will have to find words and do whatever they can to prove what they have told you. And that process is extremely tired. And as a natural reaction, they will calm themselves. They will talk less, because if they keep talking, they are afraid having to answer again. And it will be even more exhausting. Just one tip, and you will save yourself from loads of blusters that like to take the spot. Especially, you will make them more conscious in communicating. They will only dare to say what they know, and for what they don't know, they will be forced to sit and listen. They won't participate in anything or criticize anything like before. It's really marvelous, you guys. Of course, that is the theory. When applied in reality, we need to be more clever, wiser, so that they will not hate you or be at feud with you. Therefore, to make it easier to apply, you would need to take some notes. Now we will go to the practical examples part. I will give you an example that you might feel sympathy, because I feel like those types of communication happened everywhere. It happens between best friends, it happens in an office environment, it happens in every discussions. They will make us pretty tired if you don't know how to deal with it in a specific situation. Imagine we have a group of friends, about 4 people, named blue, red, pink, and yellow. I will name them after their shirt's color so you can easily imagine. They haven't met for a while, so they meet up to chit-chat about their life, about things around, And I will try to describe the story as detailed as possible in order for you guys to understand and see yourself clearly in situations like this. So Red goes first and he asks, "How are things going? Is there anything new to share with us? Gosh, it's been such a long time since we last met." Then Blue, the one who is sitting next to Red, says, I'm planning to buy an apartment, guys. I have saved a bit after working hard for a few years and borrowed bits, I'm looking for an apartment but still a little confused because I don't know how to look for it, and I have been renting since college." Yellow immediately responds, "Cool, bro, we will soon have the housewarming dinner then. But for your information, I'm there for the food, not gonna bring any gifts for you." They are best friends, so it's normal that these conversations happen, right? But then Blue said, "Don't expect on me, I'm just planning, still so confused and don't know how to buy." And then Pink, who is the main character in this situation, goes, "Knock it off, living in an apartment is so complicated. Don't be covetous and don't buy an apartment." Red says, "Why not? So many people living in an apartment nowadays and they like it though." Pink responds, "Living outside is much happier. Why do you want to live in a cage? It's very needy. Besides, do you see recently? News about burned apartments are everywhere. And there are so many kind of people live there. It's so complicated. Even if you gift it to me, I'm not gonna stay there for a day, not to mention buy one." Can you sense something? Someone lost their interest. Someone is in a bad mood now. And then Blue, the guy who is planning to buy apartments, says, "It depends, bro. Some high-class apartments with high price definitely will have better securities. Not complicated as you say. Not anyone can get in. You need the entry card to get in and even need it for the elevator. Moreover, lands in the city are very expensive." As you can see, those situations like that are very common in life, and most people will get caught up in its negativity. It can likely lead to quarrels or maybe even worse, violence related. Because these types are very easy to generate quarrels. As in this situation, Blue has put a lot of effort on looking for apartments and was also saving for a few years to get it. He's worried because he doesn't know anything and how to find a suitable one. But he did know a little bit about apartment when he was looking for it. He knows that if he put enough effort and time to look for it, there will be a suitable one that has good security system, one that he can afford. And if in this situation Blue is the bad temper guy, he can make the thought even worse. Maybe he could have said, "Oh, shut it. Have you even lived in an apartment for a day? People like you don't have enough money to afford one. Even if you have enough money to get one, it might be a low quality apartment. You will never have the opportunity to live in a high-class ones." Just for example, but it for sure can happen if Blue is the bad temper type. They might start to talk nonsense to each other and pick up a fight for nothing. That is the failure of communication. What's the point of communicate when all you say leads to arguments and anger? When someone says something negative and we get involved in it and push it into a more serious level and we start sarcastic each other, it will never be a good idea. Then in this situation, you need to use the technique that I introduced you in the first part of this video. If you are good at using that technique, you can make Pink calm himself and talk less. He will only say what he knows, not talking nonsense under any circumstances. Okay, so how do we make it right? Do you still remember what I said earlier? Pretend to be a foolish and ask open questions, abstract questions. Force them to explain what they are talking about. Just like that, and you will push them to the edge of their limit, and they will start to being afraid because they're not sure about anything. Maybe a little rustic if they can't do it too. Please bear in mind one thing. The purpose of asking questions is to force them to answer, not to humiliate them, not to push them down and show everyone about their bad habits. The key of this action is your attitude. You have to act like you have no clue about it and just looking for an answer. Your humility makes this conversation become friendly, not envy. I need to see the true humility in you. As if you didn't know anything. You were actually looking for an answer. You were actually curious. This is the most important part of this technique. Do you still remember Pink's last response? Let's recall it. He said, "Dude, don't let those realtors fool you. My friend stayed in an apartment for 10 years. Of course I know about these. Don't buy it. It's complicated." You do not have to reply immediately. You have time. You should spend time to think and figure out what is the key of those sentences coming from Pink. Then you will realize that, oh, his friend lives in an apartment. You can totally make him explain that whether his friend is living in an apartment or not, and which kind it is. Remember to be humble when you ask him this. Hey, can you introduce your friends to me? It's been so difficult to find an apartment. I want to ask for his advice since he has been living there for 10 years. How about, can I have his contact so I can give him a call and ask? He must have had more experiences and maybe he can show me around too. In this part, if he is lying, where can he find a friend that lives in an apartment to give you the phone number? He will start being nervous, he will start shaking, and he will find a reason to refuse. Maybe, I need to ask for his permissions first. I can't give you his contact. He will have to stop bragging because if he goes on, he's afraid that you will ask for the contact again. And I am sure he will be more conscious. Trust me, everyone, I have done this so many times and it works every single time. Just remember, when you ask something and they hesitate, you stop there. Don't push it further. Give them a way to step back. Don't force them too hard. Don't go on with it and be like, oh, I know you were lying from the start. You have no friend living in an apartment. It will be more tired if you say so. And in case they do give you a contact, then you can ask, oh, geez, thanks. So which apartment does he live in? Or maybe, so did his apartment burn before? Why you mentioned about it earlier? They will have to think about it and explain. To be honest, in a conversation, if you go on with 3 questions just like that, they will soon get tired and stop bragging. In any conversation like this, people like Pink will participate in anything you say, no matter what topic it is. He will show off and he will show his discomfort. Or you can ask in another way, for example, hey, I just wonder, you say that living in an apartment is complicated, many type of people, but I see there are many high-class apartments that cost like $2 or $3 billion. People who can afford it have to have the relatively high income. Why do you say it's complicated? In this case, you need them to explain that, oh, it is true that there are apartments cost 2 to 3 billion. Then they must have had a stable job. Living in high society is not complicated. You see, it's easy to navigate them if we use the right way because it is very simple. Get the information from what they said and tell them to explain. In most cases, this technique will help us find out the unsafety if they keep bragging. These people are afraid to lose their faces, so they have to pretend that they are knowledgeable. To deal with them, you only need to use abstract questions and open questions to go straight to the main part of the conversation. Force them to answer and make sure to do it as modestly as possible. It takes them a lot of energy and neutron to be able to explain. And if their explanation makes you feel like you can still give another question because they haven't aware of their lacks of knowledge, just follow their answer to continue. Make sure to pay attention to when they start to feel uncomfortable and hesitate. You should stop and give them a way out. Don't push them into a dead end. So like that, everything will be better. They will only talk about what they know. Let's take another example with the same group of friends, but different conversation. For example, Yellow asks, hey, there's a rap show on air. Have any of you seen it yet? Blue replies, of course I did. I know I'm old, but that show is so interesting, dude. And then Pink's instinct arises. He says, "Those TV shows are full of nonsense. I never watched that kind of thing. It's such a waste of time." Can you see, there is always a way to lose people's interest in a conversation. Being a feeling breaker will make no one wants to communicate with you unless you know how to control and aware of what you are saying. Do you remember what he said? That TV show is full of nonsense. You can use the nonsense word to make question. What do you mean nonsense? He will have to think and answer. No matter he has seen the show or not, would be even more tired if he hasn't. But explaining is always tired. Not to mention explain in details, explain over and over again. Of course, you have to pay attention at his attitude to find out if he's annoyed or not, if he's angry or not. If he is, then you should stop to give him a way out. If you keep pushing, then he will be humiliated. He will be more angry and he will hate you for that. The purpose of this asking question is to make him stop and to remind him to talk only when you know what you are saying, but don't have any hatred toward you. You can ask questions, but you have to observe his reaction. And now, to summarize today's video, the technique we apply in this video is a very important trick to deal with blusters. The more details you ask, the more time they need to think and explain to you. And of course, when they know nothing, then it will scare them and they will eventually have to stop bragging. And please remember this carefully. We ask such questions is not to humiliate anyone, not to make them realize that they are ignorant, but like to talk a lot. Oh no, don't think about it like that. We ask them to make them realize that, oh, I have a gap in my knowledge about this. Oh, I don't know much about it. Maybe I should talk less. Do not use this technique to sarcastic anyone, guys. Use it wise and use it right. And that's the end of our video today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an update from us. This is PeakYou channel and see you in our next video.